Hey, everybody, live from Danbury, Connecticut. It's your old buddy, Uncle Rich, and this is Who's Telling the Truth. Your old buddy, the Truth Doctor, the Truth Detector, better known as the Truth Doctor, by Marty Heiser, and we're going to play a clip from him in another. No, I'm sorry, Chris Ponte said that, but I'm sure Marty concurs. But guys, you know, we do the show from Danbury, Comcast Channel 23, and Marty does a show, I do a show, Chris Ponte does a show, and Marty played a clip last week that really bugged me. And I said I was going to play it on my show, and I was going to really give him the business on it. But just to give you a little flavor for what developed, Kurt, let's have a taste with 000, please.
Marty, you love to prove how you get everything ass backwards. And I want to thank you for it, because I'm going to use this on my Monday show.
So like I said, guys, I'm going to use it on Monday's show. And, you know, like I said to Marty, he gets everything ass backwards. And you're going to say, Rich, what are you talking about? He gets everything ass backwards. Guys, now we're going to play the little bit longer clip. And what Marty was insistent on doing, he wanted to make the point that Joe Biden and his kid was involved in this Ukrainian deal. And anyway, Marty played the clip. And so we'll watch the clip, and then you can hear my response, and then we'll play the full clip after the teasers are over. So Kurt, let's have OO now, please.
They lost the election.
They lost the election.
This one. Don't let them.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Just one more time for those of you.
One more time. He must have played this about 10 times.
Okay, just one more time. Honestly,
Got fired.
But when President Trump asks Ukraine to investigating his son's company,
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch.
it's also kind of a
but when
funny
President
thing.
Trump asks
Son of a
Ukraine
bitch,
to
he was
investigate
fired.
I think he was
corruption,
shocked that anyone actually listened to him or took him seriously.
I just don't know. It's just hilarious. Hold on. This could be the friend of the whistleblower. Yes, caller. Do you have any association with the whistleblower? And are you as outraged as all of us here on the set are about Joseph Biden selling out our government for political purposes?
Marty, you love to prove how you get everything ass backwards. And I want to thank you for it, because I'm going to use this on my Monday show.
Guys, now I fulfilled my promise. I used it on the show, and we're going to play more of it later. But in the meantime, something came up about the deep state, and that's kind of what Marty was referring to. So the next clip, we might have to play this twice, because I don't know if you're going to believe it or not. So anyway, Kurt, number 01, please.
And the so-called deep state.
Deep
Do you believe
state.
there's a ring of high-profile politicians who are kidnapping
Little
and
more
sacrificing
volume,
children?
Kurt.
I do believe that.
I think that Hillary Clinton has actually been arrested at one point
I do.
And you believe we just don't know about it? Why?
because you guys don't want us to know.
Look at that. It's out of focus. And if that isn't appropriate, because guys, what they want to do is with this QAnon garbage, they want to get everybody's focus off of what they should be looking at. So we're going to play that same clip, but we're going to play it in two parts now, because I tell you, it's that good. So listen to what the first guy has to say. Kurt, let's have number 2, please.
And the so-called deep state.
Do you believe there's a ring of high-profile politicians who are kidnapping and sacrificing children?
I do believe that.
Kidnapping and sacrificing children. Kurt, can you play that again? Just so everybody believes me and they can hear it. So number 2 again, please.
And the so-called deep state.
Do you believe there's a ring of high-profile politicians who are kidnapping and sacrificing children?
I do believe that.
All right, guys. Now, wait a minute. Now we're going to play the following clip on that. And listen. Listen how they blame Hillary. And I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but you know, Hillary went to jail. Yeah, for the sex slaves. Hey guys, I'm telling you. Now you see why we're going to have so much fun on this show. All right, so anyway, so with number 3, just listen carefully. We might want to play this one twice. So hit it, Kurt.
I think Hillary Clinton has actually been arrested at one point.
I do.
And you believe we just don't know about it. Why?
Because you guys don't want to.
You guys don't want to tell us, honey. We want to tell you, but you don't want to listen. And that's the problem. When you start to believe stuff like you believe, and I tell you, guys, the deeper we go, the more fun we're going to have, because with our next clip, Bill Maher had a little fun with somebody who seemed to have ironclad logic. So, Kurt, number 4, please.
Trump rallies these days are full of these Q people holding up signs and defending their theory with ironclad logic.
Maybe it's not true because there's no evidence of it. It's just stuff being talked about on the internet, right?
There hasn't been any non-evidence yet.
You heard the lady. There's no non-evidence.
Guys,
Trump rallies these days are full of the...
There's no non-evidence. And these are the type of people that we're dealing with. I mean, these are the type of people where you show them a global warming chart and they deny it. I tried to get that in on Kurt, and oh, nice job, Kurt. I tell you, he can hit a curveball. Hey, I tell you guys, Kurt, really, he comes down here, he helps out a lot. We're all learning, and I tell you, he's doing a terrific job. But, so that was Bill Maher with the ironclad logic with no non-evidence. And we're going to take it one step farther because on Anderson Cooper, they have what appears to be. So, Kurt, let the fun continue with clip number 5, please.
Trump rallies
that's
these
4.
days
We
are
want to
full
go to
of these
5.
What do you think Q is, by the way?
There you go.
It's an entity of 10 or less people that have
Bob of the government?
high clearance, security clearance.
And how do you know that?
Well, I'm just telling you, this is what it appears to be.
How do
Well,
you
it appears
know
to be.
that?
So you don't have any proof of that. That's what you're guessing it is.
And you don't have any proof there isn't.
You see how it works? That's non-evidence. See that? Guys, that's from Hadcut 4. And Hadcut 4 is the English National Weather Service from England. That's why it's called Hadcut 4. So if you get on Jeopardy and that question comes up, what's Hadcut 4? You'd say, oh, that's the National Meteorological Society for the country of England. All right, guys? But anyway, we're gonna forge ahead, and the next one is we're gonna show you Erin Cruz. Now she's running for a seat, and guys, we're gonna show you the campaign sign and everything, and then she comes up And she says, a conspiracy sounds crazy until it's proven. Well, honey, then it's not a conspiracy anymore. Then it's a fact. But if you had facts, you wouldn't be a Republican. Hey, we're already 10 minutes into the show, and I haven't said hi to my buddy, Uncle Joey. And believe it or not, guys, Uncle Joey said he doesn't condone Q-Anon. But he thinks global warming's a hoax. So now, how do you know what to believe with Uncle Joey? Is it a fake reality? Is it a real reality? How do we deal with this? Uncle Joey. Hey, Joey, call in. And everybody needs to get to know you. I'm telling you, because once they get to know you, they're going to fall in love with you. So anyway, let's play the clip with Erin Cruz, number 6, Kurt.
Republican Party headquarters.
People have described QAnon as a conspiracy theory. Do you believe that?
You know, a conspiracy theory only sounds crazy until it's proven.
So it's a conspiracy theory until it's proven. And then it's not a conspiracy anymore. But you see, these Fruit Loops, I'll tell you, and that's why, you know, like, especially people like Kenny Johnson, you know, it's not fair that the Republican Party takes advantage of these people. You know, poor Kenny, he doesn't know if he's coming or going. So what do? You give him information like you give to Marty, so that this way he doesn't know if he's coming or going. They put up these stupid videos that just shows how ignorant they are. And Marty, you know I love you. Marty, I mean you no harm. The only thing I want you to do is, you know, before you put something up, look into it. Make sure you're not shooting yourself in the foot before you pull the trigger, that's all. I mean, come on, you can look this stuff up. And if you can't look it up, you can watch my show. I'll steer you right. I won't let you down. I won't give you the double reverse. I'll show you charts that are done by NASA, and you could say, well, wait a minute, if NASA says this is happening, maybe I should believe them. And guys, I heard some disturbing stuff today about the Philippines and the Thailand might be underwater. Might? What are you talking about, might? They will. Just like Miami is going underwater now. They're raising the roads 4 feet. They have to. Hey guys, we got some issues, but we're going to try to resolve most of them here. And the next one is going to come from Katie Turr, and she was filling in for Lawrence O'Donnell. And this is the Uncle Joey version, because this is the Sesame Street version of the Q. This show will be brought to you by the letter Q. So, Kurt, number 7, please.
This next segment is brought to you by the letter Q.
Thank you.
QAnon. What is QAnon? Well, it went mainstream during the so-called Pizzagate affair, which led one man to walk into a pizzeria in Washington, D.C.
Remember this,
with an assault rifle because conspiracy theorists claim that Hillary Clinton and John Podesta ran a child sex ring in the basement. Seriously.
So they ran a child sex slave ring out of the basement of a pizza place. That didn't have a basement. Hey, I'm not making it up. You saw it, right? Guys, that's why I told you we're going to have a lot of fun. And the next one is from the Young Turks. And believe it or not, I think this woman, well, she claims to be a doctor. Whether she is or not, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, if you tell me you're a doctor, I'm going to believe you. But, guys, once you listen to her, it might raise some questions with you, too. So, Kurt, number 8, please.
Please remember where you were and the circumstances. The very first time you ever asked, who or what is Q? And here's why. Q is you, and Q is me. Q is logic.
Logic? That sounds like an old Beatles song. I am he as you are, he as you are me, and we are all together. See how they run like pigs from a gun, right? I am a walrus. So, maybe John Lennon had a little influence on her. But guys, the one guy that has a lot of influence on me is Juan Williams. And I tried so hard to find clips on Q-Anon, on Fox, and guys, there really weren't any. And somebody recorded this off their TV. So they felt it was important enough to put it on YouTube. So I'm more than happy to show it. Kurt, number 9, please.
Here's the thing about last night that drove me nuts.
A little volume.
Everybody say, look at this rally. And when I look at the rally, what do I see? I see this Q-Anon people. Big time there. And these are conspiracy theorists of the... You saw one sign. I see... No, that's not true. I saw people in shirts. I saw Seth Rich signs, Greg. I see lots of these conspiracy...
But that's what you choose to see.
Oh, that's what I choose to see. I think...
You can find the fringe. There's more fringe on the left than on the right. I don't like the fringe on either side.
Why are these people attracted to Trump?
I think that it's actually an interesting question, that if there is something that is extremely popular, it often includes all sorts of different people. So you get a mainstream, normal, common sense people, but you get fringe people because not just you have a wide net that happens everywhere.
Yeah,
so you want to smear an entire group of people with their... Hey, look, we do that to the left too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
I get it. Like you said that you were disturbed by it, but
So guys, Juan is the one guy that I rely on to get the truth. And I watch the 5 every day. I make it a point. Well, today I can't. On Mondays I can't. But every other day I can, because Juan is the only one that'll tell you the truth. So it's 4 against 1. It's 5 to 5. You got it. But guys, now we're going to have BuzzFeed give us some facts and some truth, things that you won't hear on Fox too often, and that's probably why I couldn't find any clips. So Kurt, number 10, please.
There's no evidence for any of this, and a lot of Q's predictions about important dates and events have turned out to be totally wrong.
No
QAnon
evidence.
started as a fringe theory online, but it's becoming more common to see people with Q signs at Trump rallies.
So there's no evidence, but you know what? That'll never slow a conservative down. Evidence? We don't care about evidence. We just want to hear the conspiracy stories. And guys, now we're going to play you the full clips. So, and another thing I want to say on a couple of the clips you're going to see where they say, and if you like what you see, subscribe. So guys, I've been asking people to just on YouTube, just hit the subscribe button with the little bell. And each Monday, when we come on, and hopefully, we're going to try to go live on YouTube maybe next week. But I got to be honest with you, Uncle Rich is not too technically delicate, if you know what I mean. I'm not twinkle toes when it comes to working the computer. But anyway, so Kurt, did we play number 10, the BuzzFeed one? If we didn't, let's play it, but I think we're ready to go to number 19, which is the full Marty clip. Am I right? Hit it then.
$1 billion simply
Enjoy
fired
this,
the
guys.
prosecutor investigating
talk
his son's
Ukraine.
company.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. fired.
But when President Trump asks Ukraine to investigate corruption, the Democrats want to impeach him, and their media lapdogs fall in line. They lost the election. Now they want to steal this one. Don't let them.
See what they want to do? They want you to think that the Democrats want to steal the
Prosecutor's
election.
not fired. You're not getting the money.
Just one more time. Honestly,
You're fired.
But when President Trump asks
Biden said
Ukraine
if you don't get the guy out of office that refuses to get rid of the corruption, I'm going to get rid of him. And he did.
It's actually kind of a funny
President Trump asks
Ukraine
Ukraine to investigate
I think he was shocked that anyone actually listened to him or took him
I
seriously.
just don't know. It's just hilarious. Hold on. This could be the friend of the whistleblower. Yes, caller. Do you have any association with the whistleblower? And are you as outraged as all of us here on the set are about Joseph Biden selling out our government for political purposes?
Marty, you love to prove how you get everything ass backwards. And I want to thank you for it, because I'm going to use this on my Monday show to embarrass you in front of the whole world, to show you what a fool you are. But Marty, you know, you could be a critical thinker. You don't have to be a Trump supporter who sheepishly follows him.
Land the plane there, Rich.
You can do your own thinking. When Biden said he's going to be fired, it's because the guy wasn't doing his job as far as
investigating.
Oh!
He wasn't doing a good enough job investigating.
So when he said, if they don't stop investigating, you're not getting the money, and son of a bitch, they stopped investigating, it's because they weren't investigating well enough.
Yes.
Oh! Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. Keep talking, and I'll get, you know, because the person that, because us simple folks who are.
Did you hear Marty say simple folk, guys? You heard it, right? Well, where did he get that from but your old buddy, Uncle Rich? Because that's what they are, simple folk. And, you know, it's people that they don't want to know. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know what's real. I only want to know what's Republican. It's really simple. And guys, the next clip we're going to show you is from Morning Joe. And believe it or not, this is what got me going. After I saw this clip this morning, I said, that's it. That's what we're going with. So, Kurt, number 20, please.
This next segment is brought to you by the letter Q.
No, number 20, Kurt.
QAnon. What is QAnon? Well, it went mainstream during the so-called
Kurt?
Pizzagate affair, which led one man to walk into a pizzeria.
You got number 20?
A woman who identified herself as a family doctor. So
No,
a woman who
that's
says
the
she is a
Young
medical
Turks.
doctor. Her name is Tammy. She is a proud follower
Number 20,
of the
Morning
QAnon,
Joe.
Conspiracy theory. She
Number
posted a
20.
video online. Two videos, actually. There are two videos of her online explaining her allegiance. Take a look.
Please remember where you were and the circumstances.
Number
Very first
20 has a
time you
big
ever
red Morning Joe.
Or what is Q?
Big
here's why.
red Morning Joe.
Q is you.
Go to 21 then.
Is me. Q is logic. Q is a plan to save the world.
You gotta be kidding me.
Q is not a secret, but Q is secretive. Carefully crafted secret education that anyone can have access to. Q, one day, will be in every history book. Q is the best thing that has ever happened to you. So remember this moment. Permanently.
It's like some sort of Sesame Street rap for lunatics.
I mean, I have massive anxiety seeing her take her.
There's nothing between 19 and 26. Well, Just so everybody watching at home knows this, we're supposed to go through this before we do the show. Well, how could you tell me? If you would have told me, we'd have it up there, wouldn't we? No. No. All right, so what's the next one we have in the loop then? All right, so let's play 26. This will be Lawrence O'Donnell. Katie Turf filling in for Lawrence O'Donnell. Go ahead, hit it.
This next segment is brought to you by the letter Q, specifically QAnon. What is QAnon? Well, it went mainstream during the so-called Pizzagate affair, which led one man to walk into a pizzeria in Washington, D.C. with an assault rifle because conspiracy theorists claim that Hillary Clinton and John Podesta ran a child sex ring in the basement. Seriously. And it made national news when Vice President Mike Pence tweeted and then soon deleted a photo showing him with a police officer who wore a patch with the letter Q. But what is it? Simply put, it's kind of a conspiracy theory fan fiction, if you will, that started and is based on anonymous postings on an internet message board in which someone, or in reality many someones, posting as Q, falsely claim that the world is run by a satanic cabal of elites led by Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the deep state, and that Donald Trump, with the help from secret allies, including special counsel Robert Mueller, will expose and defeat this deep state. Now, where have we heard that term before?
The crazy attempt by the Democrat Party and the fake news media right back there and the deep state to overturn the results of the 2016 election have failed.
So why are we talking about it tonight? Well, because supporters of QAnon were out in full force at President Trump's rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan on Thursday. You can see in this line of Trump supporters waiting in line to get into the event, many wearing T-shirts emblazoned with the letter Q and shouting QAnon slogans. NBC News reporter Ben Collins has been covering QAnon for the past year. He reported the amount of pro-QAnon supporters at the Trump rally in Grand Rapids on Thursday as absolutely shocking. Now, there's no evidence to back up any of the QAnon claims. Again, absolutely none at all. And there's even a theory that the Q posters might be elaborate pranksters modeling themselves off an Italian book. But for those who wear T-shirts and claim to be in the QAnon clique, what do they hear when the president says things like this?
All of the current and former officials who paid for, promoted, and perpetuated the single greatest hoax in the history of politics in our country. They have to be, I'm sorry, they have to be accountable.
Joining us now is NBC News reporter Ben Collins, who is the perfect reporter to talk about this because he has been reporting on QAnon's presence at Donald Trump's rallies for the past year. Ben, so good to see you. What do those QAnon supporters, believers, hear when the president says stuff like that?
What do they hear? They hear an alternate universe. Guys, what do you think they hear? I mean, they hear something completely ass backwards. And why? Because they want to. And you know, after a while, you think people would say, wait a minute. Where are you getting this information from? Oh, what difference does it make? We don't care where we get it from because it's deep state. It's secret. You're not supposed to know. And guys, as they go along, it just becomes better and better. Why? Because with a conspiracy, you can make up whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Hey, yes, that sounds good. She did what? Oh, I like that idea. She had sex slaves in the yeah, let's go with that. And guys, it just never ends. It just never, but I'm a little perturbed why I couldn't find nothing on QAnon on Fox. I think they're wise to the gig. So anyway, we're going to try to keep moving ahead now with number 27, and this is part 2. And just think, what? 27 isn't there either? You got to be kidding me, right, Kurt? All right, do this. Play 29, and then go get Candy or go get Dave and see if we can get these other clips on. So hit us with 29.
A woman who identified herself as a family doctor, so a woman who says she is a medical doctor, her name is Tammy. She is a proud follower of the QAnon conspiracy theory. She posted a video online, 2 videos, actually, there are 2 videos of her online explaining her allegiance. Take a look.
Please remember where you were and the circumstances. The very first time you ever asked who or what is Q. And here's why. Q is you, and Q is me. Q is logic. Q is a plan to save the world. Q is not a secret, but Q is secretive. Carefully crafted secret education that anyone can have access to. Q, one day, will be in every history book. Q is the best thing that has ever happened to you. So remember this moment permanently.
It's like some sort of Sesame Street rap for lunatics.
I mean, I have like massive anxiety seeing her take her eyes away from the road.
I know. Is Q driving?
Really long periods of time. I hope so. Is Q looking?
Is Q driving or watching the road?
And then just that is, if that is indeed an actual medical doctor, that is so scary.
Can you imagine going to her and asking her for some diagnosis?
Q is you. Q is me.
So.
Is that $1 million look, guys? Is that a look like you just saw God? All right, so Kurt, where are we now? So what do we have left? 30 and 31? And what? All right, so let's go with 30.
Imagine going to her and asking her for some diagnosis.
Q is you. Q is me.
So, oh my God. Okay, so this is, of course, about, I guess, a week or two after an FBI bulletin was made public in which the feds singled out QAnon and Pizzagate as domestic terrorist threats. The FBI assesses these conspiracy theories very likely will emerge, spread, and evolve in the modern information marketplace, occasionally driving both groups and individual extremists to carry out criminal or violent acts. This is from the bulletin. It later describes warning signs, reports of a sudden rise in threats and unfounded accusations against a given individual or business that may create impending conspiracy theory-driven crime or violence. And we have just one more thing I want you to look at from Tammy, the doctor.
Thank God.
Yeah, you're welcome.
My Q fix yet.
I've learned more since October 28th, 2017 than I did in the previous 50 years. And there's one reason for it, and one reason for it only. And that was the day someone that called themselves, or a group of individuals, probably close to the president, probably with military savvy, probably a very small group, elected to post on the whistleblower boards under the code Q. Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet. It is gematria, which is a language I'd never even heard of, but is used a lot for people with power, we'll say. These posts, we've had over 3,500 posts by this group of what I believe to be military intel close to the president, who created a backdoor, sort of digital, grassroots way of educating patriots by just simply asking them questions. Q is about getting to the truth, by educating people about the truth, about what's really going on. And with regard to this day, the way I like to phrase that is, always tell the truth, because you will impress most people and astonish the rest.
Well, congratulations. You have astonished the rest.
It is, I know. And also, you saw her pendant. It says Trump, and this shows up so often at his rallies. You see people, there was a person dressing her baby in a QAnon onesie, and people chanting some of their rants, and it's scary.
Young Turks, and I don't know, I just can't believe we had trouble again, but now we're going to go with BuzzFeed, and this is like the one factual one that we got, and then I'm going to have to make up a lot of stuff. So, Kurt, number 31.
What is QAnon? You've probably heard this term, but do you know what it means and why it even matters? The QAnon conspiracy theory is nuts, so we're going to break it down for you. Start the timer. QAnon believers think the world, but especially the United States, is controlled by a secret, powerful organization, the Deep State, and that Trump became president to stop it. Surprise, surprise, this began on 4chan with an anonymous user called Q, who claimed to be a government insider with Q-level security clearance. In October 2017, Q began posting intel drops, often referred to as breadcrumbs or even just drops. These posts are often incomprehensible because they're filled with abbreviations, cryptic references, and jargon. QAnon followers use these crumbs to try and decipher what new super secret intel Q is trying to pass along. And that's why many of them refer to themselves as bakers. The conclusions QAnon followers have come to are straight up wild. They believe Trump and Mueller are working together to arrest a legion of corrupt, child-molesting elites. These arrests are the storm that followers are awaiting. Some followers also believe JFK Jr. is alive and will reveal himself this July 4th. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Hillary Clinton was executed. Survey says no. Kim Jong-un is a CIA asset. That's going to be a no from me, dog. There's no evidence for any of this. And a lot of Q's predictions about important dates and events have turned out to be totally wrong. QAnon started as a fringe theory online, but it's becoming more common to see people with Q signs at Trump rallies. And some QAnon believers are even facing jail time for actions taken in pursuit of this theory. Listen, we all love a good riddle, but anonymous internet users on anonymous message boards are not exactly a source of reliable information. And if you have to tie yourself in knots to figure out what some cryptic clues mean, chances are there was nothing there in the first place. Have you got a specific Q breadcrumb you want us to debunk? Just leave it in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. That's your episode of Trackback.
So that's where you would like and subscribe to, Trackback. Guys, you know what, I'm going to put the word out. You know, both Kurt and I are retired. And maybe this is a little bit too much for the two of us. So if there's anybody out there that would like to get involved, that would like to help us with the production, you know, it's not hard. You know, we can use some help with the soundboard, and we can just use some help generally to make sure everything's in the computer. You know, we go through a set of different, you know, things that we can make sure that nothing goes astray. And guys, things go astray, and we're living proof that that happens. So if you know anybody that would like to get involved, you know, Rich, I like the idea of what you're doing. I think I can help. You know, you don't even have to get around too well. All you got to do is be able to get down here, and we'll teach you how to work the soundboard, and then we'll introduce you to some of the other things. And there's no labor or nothing involved, but maybe we just need some help. So, rather than, make this a bad situation, let's hope it works out to be a good one. So if there's anybody out there that might be interested, all right, so let's see. Right now it's 22. It's what? 40. Yeah, well, 40 is just a little clip, and it's you can play it, but it'll just buy us a little bit of time. But we got to figure out. Do we have any clips from last week left? No. There's nothing from last week. No. All right. All right, so let's go with 40. I'll try.
Finally, new rule: if Trump supporters don't want us to call them stupid, they have to stop coming up with things like Q. Oh, you heard? Yeah, it was just a few months ago in this space that I was talking about how Republicans are now the conspiracy party, and that there is literally nothing so ridiculous they won't swallow.
All right, Kurt, I tell you what, let's have fun. We'll just play the Bill Maher clip all over again. So let's go to 22 into 23, and that should wrap us up. Go to Greta, 27.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe. The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions? There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable, and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not.
Carbon emissions are rising, and faster than most scientists predicted. But many climate change alarmists seem to claim that all climate change is worse than expected. This ignores that much of the data is actually more encouraging than expected. Yes, Arctic sea ice is melting faster than models expected, but models also predicted that Antarctic sea ice would decrease, yet Antarctic sea ice is increasing. Yes, sea levels are rising, but the rise is not accelerating. If anything, two recent papers, one by Chinese scientists published in January 2014 and the other by US scientists published in May 2013, have shown a small decline in the rate of sea level increase. We're often being told that we're seeing more and more droughts, but a study published in March 2014 in the journal Nature actually shows a decrease in the world's surface that has been afflicted by droughts since 1982. Facts like these are important because a one-sided focus on worst-case stories is a poor foundation for sound policies.
We're going to save the end of the show, so Kurt, if you have 28, just go with 28, and then we'll go with PragerU. And guys, that's what the last show was on the deception of PragerU, which really fits into the conspiracy theories. So anyway, did you play 28, Kurt? All right.
Facts like these are important because a one-sided focus on worst-case stories is a poor foundation for sound policies. Hurricanes are likewise used as an example of things getting worse. But look at the US, where we have the best statistics. If we adjust for population and wealth, hurricane damage during the period of 1900 to 2013 actually decreased slightly. At the UN Climate Conference in Lima, Peru, in December 2014, attendees were told that their countries should cut carbon emissions to avoid future damage from storms like Typhoon Hagupit, which hit the Philippines during the conference, killing at least 21 people and forcing more than 1 million into shelters. Yet the trend for strong typhoons around the Philippines have actually declined since 1950, according to a study published in 2012 by the Journal of Climate. Again, we're told that all things are getting worse, but the facts don't support this. This does not mean global warming is not real or a problem, but the one-sided story of alarmism makes us lose focus. If we want to help the world's poor, who are the most threatened by natural disasters, it's less about cutting carbon emissions than it is about pulling them out of poverty. The best way to see this is to look at the world's death from natural disasters over time. In the Oxford University database for death rates from floods, extreme temperatures, droughts, and storms, the average in the first part of last century was more than 130 dead every year per million people. Since then, the death rates have dropped 97% to a new low in the 2010s of less than 4 per million.
All right. So anyway, it looks like we're kind of back on the right track, and we're just going to forge ahead with Prager University. And this is the fallacy of equivocation. This is cute. Use big words so nobody knows what you're talking about. Number 29, Kurt.
97% of climate scientists agree that climate change is real. How many times have you heard that statement? Probably hundreds. It may seem like a compelling and scientific argument against fossil fuels, but it's one of the most illogical, unscientific arguments you can make.
Wrong.
To see how, let's use this form of argument for another controversial product, vaccines. An anti-vaccine person approaches you and says, 97% of doctors say that the side effects of vaccines are real. What would you say in response? You'd probably say, yeah, but the benefits far outweigh the side effects. By saying that 97% of doctors agree that vaccine side effects are real without mentioning any of the benefits of vaccines, the anti-vaccine activist is trying to get you to look at the potential dangers of vaccines out of context. When fossil fuel opponents say 97% of climate scientists agree that climate change is real, they are doing the same. Yes, using fossil fuels for energy has a side effect, increasing the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere. Okay, but what about the upside? In the case of fossil fuel, that upside is enormous.
You're destroying the
cheap,
planet,
plentiful,
bonehead.
reliable energy that makes modern life possible, and at a scale no other energy source can match. So how significant is the side effect? This raises another problem with the statement, 97% of climate scientists agree that climate change is real. It tells us nothing about the meaning or magnitude of climate change, whether it's a mild, manageable warming or a runaway, catastrophic warming. This is an example of the fallacy of equivocation, using the same term in different, contradictory ways. If someone were to say 97% of doctors agree that vaccine side effects are real, what exact vaccine side effects do the doctors agree on? That a certain number of babies will get a rash, or that large percentages will get full-blown autism? Precision is key, right?
Guys, what are they trying to do there? What are they trying to do? They're trying to create doubt. That's all. That's all. Well, you know, maybe, what if? No, forget it. When you got 97% of the climate scientists writing peer-reviewed papers that are published, it doesn't get any more certain. That's right. The science is certain. Sorry. And let's take it one step further with our next clip, number 30. Hit it, Kurt.
Precision is key, right?
You got it. Precision
But
is
fossil
key.
fuel opponents don't want you to know the precise magnitude of climate change. Because if you did, you wouldn't be scared of climate change. You would be scared of losing the benefit.
We're going to show you
of
some
fossil
charts after this is
For
over,
example,
guys. It'll
listen to how
blow you
Secretary
away.
of State John
Kurt, get
Kerry
him ready.
manipulates the 97% of scientists line. 97% of climate scientists have confirmed that climate change is happening and that human activity is responsible, he said in a speech in Indonesia in 2014. Later, in the same speech, he claimed that scientists agree that the world as we know it will change, and it will change dramatically for the worse. 97% of climate scientists never said any such thing. So what did the 97% actually say? It turns out nothing remotely resembling catastrophic climate change. One of the main studies justifying 97% was done by John Cook, a climate communications fellow for the Global Change Institute in Australia. Here's his own summary of his survey. Cook et al. Found that over 97% of papers surveyed endorsed the view that the Earth is warming up and human emissions of greenhouse gases are the main cause. Main cause means over 50%. But the vast majority of papers don't say that human beings are the main cause of recent warming. In fact, one analysis showed that less than 2% of papers actually said that.
Bull.
How did Cook get to 97% then? First, he added papers that explicitly said there was man-made warming, but didn't say how much.
He did not.
Then
he did an
added
Nexus
papers that didn't
search.
even say there was man-made warming, but he thought it was implied.
Oh, stop
A scientific researcher has a sacred obligation to accurately report his findings. Cook and researchers like him have failed us, as have the politicians and media figures who have blindly repeated the 97% claim to support their anti-fossil fuel goals. How can we protect ourselves against this kind of manipulation? Whenever someone tells you that scientists agree on something, ask two questions. What exactly do they agree on? And how did they prove it?
How did they prove it? It's pretty simple. They measured it. Very simple. You measure it. Now, guys, take a look. What's the most important thing on that chart? The NASA. The fact that it's certified by NASA. That's the source. And that's who you want to use. A reliable source. And now we're going to show you John Cook and how he came up with the consensus on the consensus. Kurt, 31.
What is QAnon? You've probably heard this
31.
term, but
You
do you know
went
what
back
it
to-
means and why it even matters?
You went back to 258.
The QAnon conspiracy theory is
285.
nuts,
Go to
so we're going to break it down for you.
It don't come easy. You know it don't come easy.
97% of scientists, including, by the way, some who originally disputed the data, have now put that to rest. They've acknowledged the planet is warming and human activity is contributing to it.
A survey of thousands of scientific papers that took a position on climate change found that 97% endorsed the position that humans are causing global warming.
Some 97% of scientists who have written in peer-reviewed journals say the following: climate change is real, it is significantly caused by human activity.
97% of scientists the world over have said that climate change is urgent
I wonder
and
if they're
man-made
all
and must
lying.
be addressed.
For
Uncle
over a
Joey,
decade,
are they all
study
lying?
after study has found that 97% of publishing climate scientists agree that humans are causing global warming. But what do the general public think? I'm here at the Brisbane City Mall to find out. What percentage of climate scientists do you think agree that humans are causing global warming?
95%, probably 50%. 75%, I think.
80%, yeah.
85.
Would you like to know who was closer then?
I think I was closer.
100%. Between 5 and 10%?
Not a lot.
Oh, hang on, sorry, other way around. 95%. But split 50-50?
I would say 80%.
95%. I would say 50. Oh.
There's a huge gap between what many of the public think about the scientific consensus and the actual 97% agreement among climate scientists. Why is there such a large consensus gap? One contributor is misinformation.
The 97% figure that's thrown around, the head of the UN IPC said that number was pulled out of thin air.
Can you imagine saying this, guys? Why would you do this?
97% is
Anyway, I want to thank everybody.
The stat about the 97% of scientists is based on one
if you know anybody that can
97% of all scientists believe
it's a bogus number.
It's so not a bogus number.
It's so a bogus.
Okay, yours is mine. Yours is mine.
You know,
From clips
we
like
just
this,
need some
you'd think there's a
additional
vigorous debate
oversight.
about whether scientists agree that humans are causing global warming. We're often exposed to contradictory messages in the media. How do we see
All right,
through
so
the
hopefully
misinformation
next week,
and get
guys,
to
we're
the
going to
truth
do it on
about consensus?
biogas if I hear from the city of Danbury. And if they're going to straighten this out. Good night. Ah.